Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something called Audacity. Audacity is an open source audio editing program, and it works on Macs, it works on PCs, and it's completely free. The only drawback I really see to Audacity is that because it's open source, that means anybody can go in and work on the program and make improvements to it and fine tune things. There are, kind of a lot of updates on it as people work on it and make it better. And that sometimes means that with each new generation, the buttons will jump around. So maybe the stop and the edit, or the stop it and the go and the pause are over here one time, and the editing tools are here one time. And then the next time you get an update, they'll be like this on, one on top of each other, or one will be over here, one will be. So they move all around often with the different generations. And I think that has to do with the fact that it's open source and people kind of move them where they think they should be. But then again, I also, sometimes from computer to computer, they seem to move. So I'm not sure what that's about. It's kind of like, you're getting into a new car each time. You're like, okay, where did they go? The buttons won't change what they do, but they sometimes do change where they are. And you kind of have to search around for them a little bit. But why should you guys want to use this program? Well, it's something that is sophisticated enough and has enough bells and whistles, so to speak, that it's something that I have used professionally as I've worked with NPR and Voice of America, Business Insider, a couple of others. So works every bit as good as a professional program. So that also gets you ready for the real world and anything you might want to do with that. It's great for doing podcasts. It's great for using on social media and making yourself sound your absolute best. But what we're going to talk about today is using it with Premiere. Now, why would we want to use it with Premiere when we've already got a video program and we can edit? Well, because sometimes we want to do a little bit more than what we can do in Premiere. Premiere's got a lot of rubber banding, as you know, and a lot of, you can make cuts and stuff, but this is just a little bit more sophisticated and gives you the ability to do some more things that are not quite as easy to do in Premiere. And sometimes I just think that Audacity has just some better capabilities, and you can get in on it a little bit better and work with it. So you might want to strip your audio out of Premiere to work with this, import it into Audacity. Then in Audacity, we would use it for things like voiceovers. Maybe we have to do voiceovers several times. We just don't like the way they sound. Well, Audacity can help you edit those voiceovers together into one nice, smooth voiceover, so things sound, just perfect the way you'd like them. Another reason we might use Audacity is to work on an interview. Maybe there's some kind of weird ambient noise in the background, and you can get it out in Premiere, but Audacity will do a better job of that for you. Maybe we've got some, some clicks or some pops. Sometimes when we talk, we just make some kind of weird popping noises, and you can edit those out really easily, much more easily, and than you can with all that little rubber banding. And also in Premiere, sometimes once you do those rubber bands, things slip around a little bit, and so this just locks it in, keeps it safe, makes it perfect the way we want it. And then finally, another thing that we would want to do sometimes is when we're working with music and maybe putting some music underneath, or making some music just hit perfectly the way we want it to. Or maybe we have to edit down the music a little bit to fit right. I'm not just talking about chopping off the ends, but sometimes we might want to, put something together to make it sound just a little bit different or a little bit shorter, whatever we have to do, Audacity can do it for us. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the inner workings of how Audacity works and an introduction to that. And then, the other thing I wanted to tell you before I get to the actual video is that Audacity can be put back into Premiere, and then Premiere will sync it itself. I'll show you how to do that, but that's one of the reasons we like this, is because we can put it right back in and Premiere will figure it out and sync it up the way it should be. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit about Audacity. So this is what Audacity, the open source audio editing program, looks like. And if you can see up here at the top, It's pretty much like something that you would have if you were doing, you know, editing in Word or something. The only difference is we're using audio files instead. So the first thing you want to do is grab some audio. We're going to go and we're going to import audio, file, import audio. And we're going to grab Auburn's
It's the little
monologue.
things that drive people over that.
Yep, we want Auburn's monologue. We're going to open that. And as you can see, Auburn's monologue is in stereo. That's why we have our left channel and our right channel here. And as you can see, they're not exactly the same. Auburn was actually mic'd on the camera for this. This was for the TBH last season show on suicide, and they did a little screenplay about suicide. And this is her monologue that she does at the end. But Auburn's monologue, she did it outside, and you can't control all the noise out there. So some things were picking up a little bit more, as you can see. There were certain things that were picking up on the boom mic a little bit more than on her lavalier mic. And the way Audacity works is pretty straightforward, and just like Premiere, you're going to have to mess with it a little bit to get it to work right, but it should be second nature fairly quickly. Let me point out a couple things first. We have, of course, the very, very top menu to choose from, which will have things like choosing a new program or choosing a new file, opening something recent, which is really great when you're trying to find something and maybe you can't remember where you put it on your computer. It's right there. Save project is really important, of course. Let me draw your attention to the export. As you can see, you can export your audio file in many different forms, an MP3 or a WAV. The difference between an MP3 and a WAV is that an MP3 is kind of like down and dirty, and it doesn't get all the wonderful nuances. A WAV is richer sounding, it's got a lot more data in it, and it makes a much fuller sound. You can use either, but usually, unless there's some kind of special circumstance, MP3 is going to work fairly well in the Premiere program when we export it to put it back in Premiere. The buttons are pretty self-explanatory. We have pause, play, stop. Then we have this little button that skips everything straight to the beginning, this one that skips it straight to the end. And then the other button here is the record button. Now you can record directly if your computer setup has a great mic, but I encourage you to go ahead and record in the camera anyway, because that will give you the same consistency of your interviews and the mic, and it's a richer sound. Most camera mics are going to sound a little bit better, a little bit richer, more full sounding than your computer mic. Your computer mic, unless you've got something specific set up, is just going to be kind of a little bit empty and hollow. So it's there if you need it, and I would say use it in emergencies, or if you're doing some, you know, social media, little YouTube or Instagram video, and you need something quick, down and dirty. But otherwise, I strongly encourage you to make a file and import it. The main tools you're going to use are these 6 tools right here, and the one you'll use the most is the selection tool, and you're going to use that to highlight and cut or delete or work on a specific piece of video. Then you have something here that's called the enveloping tool, and as you can see, you can make things bigger or smaller just depending on, you know, what kind of sound you need. You can envelope out a little piece of your audio. Now, something you need to know before we go on any further is that there's also an undo button right here. So if you decide you don't like things, way over here on the right side of the screen right now is the undo button. And you can usually undo back a couple steps. Now, if you undo too far, like I just did, you can always do one redo. There we go. Now we're back to working with just our standard audio. The next thing here, the next tool is a drawing tool. And the drawing tool, we just really don't use it very much. There's not a great call for that, especially unless you get into some more advanced, sophisticated stuff. The zoom tool is pretty self-explanatory. It's just, you might want to just zoom in on a piece of audio. Sometimes there's like a little click or a noise you need to get rid of, and maybe, maybe this right here is the pop or the click that you need to edit out. Now, you can also zoom in or out over on the right side of the screen. You see the same plus and minus to take you back wherever you want to go, or even tighter than what you had before. So the time shift tool is something that we use to move things backwards and forward. If we have multiple clips, we can cut and we can, we can flip-flop, we can move this over, we can even move it down to another track, which I'll show you in a few minutes. And then the final tool right here is called like the everything tool or the multi-tool, and it means that you can do all of these things at once, which can get really confusing. I mean, if you want to use it, more power to you, but I like to stick with doing one specific thing at a time. So I usually just use my selection tool and then my other tools as necessary. You'll notice that this is a stereo file, but if you would want to make it just on one channel or the other, you can go down to this little thing here and you can split the stereo track. And now you have two separate files. So they will work completely individually from each other. So you can move those down. We can move them, completely individually and edit them completely individually from each other. So let's go here. Say you decide that you don't want them to be one track anymore, or you don't want them to be two tracks anymore. You can always go back and make it a stereo track again. So no worries, you're not going to hurt anything if you decide to look at them individually. You can also swap channels if you want to. You can, for whatever reason, sometimes certain places, certain radio stations or TV stations will say, we want to bring that stereo quality, but they have rules about we want, say, to have our voiceovers on channel 1, which is usually the left channel, and our interviews and our ambi on channel 2, which is the right channel. You can just go up here and you can swap the tracks. One of the nice things about Audacity is that there are many ways to do the same things, just like in Premiere there's many ways to do the same things. So for example, you can always find all your commands up here in this menu. For example, if you wanted to cut something, you can go right there to make the cut, or you can always go over and use your cut right over here too. Another one of those things that you can do in so many different ways is that, say you want to raise the volume on something. As we talked about, we can envelope and work it right in here. If we want to make it, smaller, larger, or quieter, louder. Or, for example, we can also go back to the timeline here, and we can gain up the sound here or bring it down if you just want to do the entire timeline. Or for example, say you only want to amplify a portion of what you're doing, you can highlight whatever you want to amplify, go to Effects, go to Amplify, and then you just play around with it. And if you get too loud, you can see here, it'll tell you, no, you just can't do that. But if you watch down here, you should be able to see, okay, it says this is the highest you can make it. And you hit okay, and there it goes. Sometimes you have a certain clip that you want to keep and you can get rid of all the other garbage on the line. So what you would do in that instance would be you would find whatever it is that you're looking for. Maybe you like this part about the dogs, or
It can be simple stuff like a breakup, a dog dying, or even an anniversary.
So for example, if you want to keep just that portion, it can be simple stuff, a dog dying, a breakup, anniversary. All you have to do is highlight it, and then you can go over to this special tool over here, which is trim audio outside the selection, and it will get rid of everything else for you. So and then all you would have to do is use your timeline piece and move it down to wherever you wanted, and there you have it. Say you'd like to put some audio in, some with Auburn's monologue. You just go up, you would add import, we're going to go to audio, We're going to go to the desktop. I think I have, yeah, we'll use that. Now the music has come in. Obviously the music is much longer and stronger than what Auburn's saying. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our selection tool, and we're just going to, maybe take this much. And then we're going to go up over here to our trim audio outside, and boom, we've gotten rid of all of that. So now if you listen,
It's the little things that drive people over that sometimes.
Obviously it's way too loud, so we're going to go and we're going to highlight all of the music, and we're going to go up to effects, and this is counterintuitive, but we're going to hit amplify, and then amplify starts at 0 and goes either direction. So actually what we can do is we can bring this way down, and you can preview things ahead of time. See what that sounds like. See if that works.
It's the little things that drive people over that sometimes. It's not always big and dramatic.
Say this is the way we want it. And we've decided that, we need to really fade out the end. We simply go back over the end of the audio only, and then we're going to go back up to effect, and then after we do that, we will go down to the fade out. And now let's go ahead and listen to the end of that.
Times you don't know when someone is suicidal until it's too late.
When you're finished with your piece and you're ready to export it, it's all going to be, I call it, it's being rendered down. I kind of think of it like we're cooking everything down. So it's going to be in one file, especially if we do an MP3. So let's go up here. We're going to go to File, Export, Export as an MP3. We've already got it named Auburn's Monologue. Let's call it Auburn's Monologue 2 because we're adding some music to it so we can tell. And then we're going to go ahead and save it. Pretty much all of those are just OKs. And then it should have gone up to my desk. And here we go. Yes, we have it right here. Well, I guess that won't stay, but there it is. So you can see right here, we've got Auburn's Monologue. I don't know if we can get it to play from over here.
It's the little things that drive people over that.
Now we have our MP3, and we can import that back into our Premiere, and I will show you how to do that in the next